there are some countries who do not
We
play.
are live.
Yay!
I'm so excited, Asya. I guess people might have caught us in our never-ending conversations. We can continue afterwards, but I am super, super duper excited. And I want to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all the podcast and LinkedIn Live listeners. I am so excited to begin an Unstoppable Me podcast and LinkedIn Live series for Thrive with Mentoring with Assia Morris. This is a series where I will be bringing to you a lot of inspiration from women who have stories of grit and determination and resilience and who have succeeded against all odds. And I really, really believe that this is what we need to hear today because we are living in this world of ever increasing uncertainty. The pandemic has not ended, and then there is a war, and then there are flights getting canceled left, right, and center. So we cannot even, go to our leisure places very easily. And I think in this world, we really, all of us, including me, by the way, we really need something to hold on to that inspires us. And that was really the starting point of creating this theme, which we have at Thrive, started at the IWD, at the International Women's Day in March, and then we continued with it with the annual awards, and now we want to continue this and keep bringing to you these stories of amazing women. And I want to welcome you, Asya.
Thank
Um,
you.
Assia Morris is a mixed heritage Algerian and British, living in Switzerland for more than 20 years. So that's
Mhm.
something I share with you, Assia.
Oh,
You're
yeah,
a mom of two children like me and has a corporate financial background of more than 20 years,
mhm.
which is really amazing, right? This is an unusual, I would say, combination that you bring. You are also an executive coach and
Yeah.
you love to empower women. It was so amazing to have you as a Thrive mentor and a transformational one. And I really like that you focus on their own style and helping them to be their best selves,
Mhm.
especially breaking the glass ceiling, which I believe you've done yourself, right? So your diverse backgrounds is what really attracts me a lot, and I'd love to ask you, Asya, share
Sure.
with me one of your favorite childhood memories which sort of reflects who you are and who you're becoming.
Oh, wow. So you're taking me back more than 40 years back. So I was born in Algeria, as I mentioned, and um, I was lucky to grow up next to the sea. So we had the Mediterranean, and my mother always said that I knew how to swim before I knew how to walk. So she swam me in the sea very early. And if I can describe the early memories I had was family gathering at the beach
Mhm.
with food and the family there, and me, I would say naked, going into the sea and just swimming. And people saying maybe she should wear a swimming suit, but I would not have any of it. And that experience, and I must have been 2.5, stayed with me until now. The sea is my place, my peace. And I cannot be without going to the sea and just either watching it or just being there. Yeah. And I
What
didn't stop.
a wonderful picture. I can almost imagine,
I have a picture actually of it.
Oh, we must share that. No, it's really vivid, and I love what you mentioned that that you would just go there freely, in
Sure.
your birthday suit, because I think we all have these impressions of countries where
Yeah.
movement is restricted and women are restricted, and as an Algerian and growing in Algeria, and
Mhm.
of course British.
Mhm.
How was your upbringing? What did you study? How did you sort of grow up into this professional financial career?
So good question again. My father was so married my mother. My mother's British, and I grew up in a very free environment. So in essence, there were two of us, my brother and myself, but we were not treated any differently. So studies were important. Everything that we had to study. But my father was and is still a very nationalistic person.
Mm.
He believed in his country. He's very proud of his country. So he didn't send us in any privileged school. He wanted us to go and be in normal school. So we were at school with 40 kids and a teacher with a stick. Um, but To be honest, Shivangi, when I look back and how I grew up, that gave me so much resilience and so much grounding on who I was. Yes, I had a British mom and I was different, but that rooting made me who I am today. So I studied in Algeria, finished Algeria, went to Paris, studied in Paris. And with that, I embraced all the cultures. For me, it was important. I always say I have four cultures. I have Algerian cultures, French culture, which I'm very proud of, and it's my mother tongue as well, English culture, and Berber culture. And now Swiss culture. So five, right?
Hmm.
And you asked me about how I ended up in finance. By luck, again, with the languages that I had, they were open enough to basically hire a person such as me with different diverse background. I had translation background and so on, but they gave me the chance to go into banking, and I grabbed that chance and I never let go.
Beautiful,
that,
beautiful.
that is the
How
story.
are you, as you chart this journey, I'm almost following you, and I'm thinking, how are you evolving today, and what attracted to you, something towards something like mentoring women, and we've also spoken about your desire to also help,
Mhm.
Algerian women maybe again.
Oh, totally.
What
Hmm.
what has been the most, let's say, memorable mentoring experience for you personally? What kind of people were mentoring you, formally or informally?
I never had a mentor, believe it or not, Shivangi, but I had role models, of course, and I had people who influenced me. Mentoring was not, so we're talking about a child that grew up in the 80s and 90s, and that was not something, and I wish I had a mentor who would have guided me. There were some, of course, role models that had an impact on me. My father, to start with, and who he was, and my mother, and the whole family. We come from a very strong intellectual background, and studies and helping each other is part of the DNA. But as I grew up, I saw all these women giving time, giving the space to other women to grow, helping each other, and in the environment that I work in, so corporates, I've been lucky to have some people who, and there were women who helped me grow and say it's possible. Yes, I come from a different background, but I can make it. And and now I'm here to serve. So I'm here to serve. I'm here to either mentor or coach and empower these women. And yes, with an idea of doing it with my fellow Algerian women. That's true. That is something is very strong in me. It's my turn.
Like I can fully identify with that sentiment.
Hmm.
I'm just thinking, I mean, diversity is sort of in your bones, if I can say. It's not something that you need a DNI training to become aware of both conscious and unconscious biases that we all bring, right? And they
Yes.
remain, and we are actively working uh,
Hmm.
with those realities. Um, but again, diversity is not just at a gender level. It's not
No.
just at the level of ethnicity, nationality. You
Mm-mm.
also mentioned something really interesting, and that is your more recent, I would say, experience of living with a health condition. Can you
Yes.
speak more to that? Because I know that we said, that is one thing that is important for you, how you have circumvented possibly an unsurmountable, an unsurmountable disease, to some. And
Hmm.
I'd love for you to talk about that because I
Hmm.
think it's so
Sure.
inspiring.
So, because of my background and the high achieving background, as you know, you come from the same background where the expectations from the family is that you go as high as you can go. You become a doctor, you become, an engineer, whatever the expectations are. I was a phenomenal high achiever, you
Mhm.
know, and I wanted the sky. The sky was the limit for me, and I was growing in the company I work for, and succeeding. And somehow one day I woke up and I was unable to walk. And that happened in Switzerland, thankfully. And I didn't know what was going on. So to cut a long story short, I was diagnosed with an immune disease.
Mhm.
And the question you ask your doctor is, okay, when will I heal? And the answer is, you never heal. Okay, so what's going to happen? Not great things. That's their prognosis. And I was sitting there and I'm reflecting about this. And of course, you have a million questions come through your mind. Why me? How? Could I have done something different not to have that illness? And you feel guilty. You feel ashamed. You feel your future has been robbed somehow because the prognosis is not a fantastic one. It is what it is. And acceptance. So that happened, let me think about it, in 2005. So I was 35 years old and I was very young. And that illness, if I can may so, had taught me so much. It had made me take a different journey and a different journey. And I believe, thanks to, and I say thank, and I'm choosing that word, thanks to that illness, I was able to choose a different journey. I don't think I would be talking to you today and be in the place I am today if this illness didn't happen. It also made me aware of my limits, of what I can do, I cannot do. It also made me um, becoming a coach. And one of the coaching areas that I focus on is for people to who have immune diseases or who have anything, and help them achieve their dream because nothing is impossible. Nothing.
What helped you? So what was the drive? As I said, it is, I do know of people who might have such a prognosis, and it is as much a mental, emotional battle as it
Totally.
is physical,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
What were your support mechanisms, and what was that sort of mindset that really helped you to capture? Well, I wouldn't say capture or overcome. I mean, it's really like live with it and actually
Mhm.
frame it to support you rather than
Yeah.
something that debilitates you, right?
My Algerian roots, Shivangi. I come from a long line of very, very strong women who went through colonization, having no rights. Let's not kid ourselves. These are societies where men are really the masters of everything. But they're so strong. And that DNA never faltered. That DNA was there and it was in me. So my mindset was to fight it. My mindset was to say it's not going to stop me from being who I am. So that was one of the elements. The element is, of course, you need kind of friends and family and a husband who are there to support you when there are times when things are not are not going well. And most importantly, to ask for help, Shivangi, when things are not well, when it's not your day. I come from a very proud family. We don't ask for help, we do it, we do it. But just to stop for 1 minute and say, can you help me?
That is so insightful. Asking for help as a superpower. And I can tell you, I know many, many, many high achieving women, high performing women who really think that it is a sign of failure to ask for help, right? Because you should be able
Exactly.
to do everything yourself. And we know that that's not true, right? I mean, you can alone only go so far. And if you go together, you can go much further away. And like you say, that
Mhm.
is the limit. And
Mhm.
sometimes those kind of circumstances, in your case, this health condition, maybe supports, that whole
Mhm.
process of asking for help. Because if everything works, it is difficult to ask for help. I think it remains,
Totally.
I can say that personally, it does remain difficult for me to ask for help.
Yeah, totally. And I'm very spiritual. And I believe that this illness came to teach me something and to make me the person who I am. And it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to not be phenomenal, not to achieve everything. And for women, it's important that we know that we don't have to be high achievers like men. We can achieve things differently, being different and doing things that we are happy with and that we feel authentic. We feel that we're doing something that makes sense, even though in the society that we know, it doesn't show as high achieving. It's okay.
I mean, it's fascinating, right? I mean, because that's sort of been the narrative. But if you see what's happening in the pandemic era,
Totally.
even if you look
Mhm.
at the world's political leaders, a more feminine, I would say, so not necessarily a female, but a more feminine leadership style, which is
Mhm.
more nurturing, inclusive.
Yeah.
Those are the countries that have done really well in the pandemic. Now
Yes.
be that New
We
Zealand,
know. New
Cinda,
Zealand. Yeah, exactly.
and then we see what's happening or what happened with Trump or Johnson or whoever. So
Hmm.
it's quite fascinating, right? Because we have this picture, and I think we have it both as men and women, of what a leader should look like, what
Yeah.
action to take. We have this, heroic image of somebody up there making all the decisions. The world is too complex. Everything is too unpredictable. It's just that style is really out of fashion now. It's not
And
going
we
to
need
work.
to create our leadership, our women leadership, and how it should be and show up. And I am, this is why I am a coach. Really, it is what drives me. It drives me because I feel that it's our time. It's our time to show. It's our time to shine, and it's a time to show how leadership as a woman. We don't have to imitate men. We don't have to be, as you were mentioning, nurturing, kind, inclusive. These are not something that you're taught to be, but this is who we are.
Yeah.
And it's important that this shines. I'm coaching middle managers, women, and they afraid today of showing who they are, showing emotions. I heard it. You probably heard it. Don't show emotions. You're a little bit today. You're a little bit. You seem a little bit emotional. Yes, we are emotional because we decide to show emotions. If you guys don't want to show it, no problem. I'm showing it because this is who I am.
And that really is the double bind, right? And I think, I
Totally.
mean, Thrive does women for women mentoring for that
Yeah.
purpose, because it's a lived experience. It's not
Mhm.
enough for you to have, read all the research around it and saying the right words.
Yeah.
The lived experience of this double bind, where if you are assertive, then the chances are high that you will
Mhm.
be considered too aggressive, too bossy.
Mhm. Mhm.
Otherwise, you're a wallflower. It's like there is no in between way. And I think that's what leaders and women leaders, especially of today, are
Yeah.
trying to find this in between way, right?
Yeah.
Where the way you are is okay, and saying okay to
Mhm.
another style too. And I think that's where the inclusion piece comes from.
Yes.
You're very right there. I think
And
that
acceptance, and diversity is not, as you said, not only your background or who your religion. It's also acceptance of what is different.
yeah. Yeah.
And for me, it's so key. And I grew up with, I grew up with two parents from different backgrounds. Algerian and British have nothing, literally nothing in common.
Yeah.
There is nothing, there is common, no language, no religion, nothing in common. And to be able to bring the two worlds together and just to say, this is who I am, plus adding on top of it, whatever came my way is who I am. And for that, I became one of this person who just accept
Very much.
whatever is different. And I would love women to accept, whether who they are and their style of leadership going forward, and shine, just shine.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Asya. I think this is really inspiring. Thanks so much for your time. I hope to keep connected with you, of course, and I
Would
hope to
love to.
bringing Thrive to Algeria as we discussed.
Oh yes, that's the next step, and I would love to continue that. Yes, that would be not Algeria, North Africa. It would be lovely, and to
Yes.
engage with these women. I think Thrive will be so needed,
Yes.
and I've seen the impact it had in Switzerland. So let's rock and go everywhere.
Thank you so much. Take care
Pleasure.
now. I am seeing one last comment I want to show here. Very moving. Your self acceptance is a gateway to wider inclusion.
Thank
Indeed.
you, Ashid.
Take care. Bye for now,
Thank
everybody.
you. Bye bye.